Bienvenidos a Ticket to Life. This is Henry, and I hope everyone's having a good day, good evening, or afternoon, wherever you are. Have you ever noticed I say good morning or good evening, good afternoon? I never say anything in order like, oh, I hope you're having a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening. I think it's because deep inside, I really believe I have some form of dyslexia. I do all sorts of stuff backwards and see numbers backwards. No, I've never been tested. And I'm pretty good to go. I figure if I've gotten this far in life without being tested, I'm sure I'm okay. But anyway, I hope everyone's having a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Um, Anything exciting happening with you that you would like to share, please feel free to send me an email at tickettolife022 at gmail.com. The reason I say that is because there's so many stories to be told, and some people just don't know how to get them out there. And yes, you can be anonymous. Um, One of the stories I do have to share is how people judge us, because people do judge us no matter what we say, no matter what we do. We are always being judged. I found a very good book at one of my favorite stores at the Dollar Tree, and I'm sure lots of you know it's no longer everything's a dollar. Now it's $1.25. So remember, if you want to stay under $10, you can only get 8 items plus tax, and you'll have your $10. I had to figure that out. Let's see, I don't want to spend that much, but of course I never leave there spending $10. Back to my thing is, I love reading, and one of the books I found there, sometimes you can find some real treasures when looking for a book, was I'm Judging You by Lovey. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, the author, Lovey Ajayi. Oh my gosh, what a fun book to read. Serious and fun, but she says it all. Everything she writes in this book, we have all done and we have all judged at one time. And speaking of judging, I'm notorious for saying, well, I'm not here to judge. But then I speak my mind because that's what I do. And I think a lot of us are probably like that. You want to say something, but you think, well, if I say it, I am being judgy and I don't want people to think. But trust me, everyone's judging us. I don't care if you're walking down the street and you have a cute outfit. Someone's like, should she really be wearing that? Oh my gosh. Not just talking about you, they're judging you. They're judging. I believe that everybody gets judges one way or the other, even if they are the best person in the world. Come on, Jesus was judge. Hello. And he didn't do anything wrong. So I'm sure if he was accused of things and being judged of being not a good person or whatever, um, we are definitely being judged. So, anyway, um, I hope everyone, this is just one of those podcasts I just wanted to put together. I just have so much to say and so much to talk about, and I, I don't know where to start. Um, One of the things I did want to share with when we were in Vegas, prior to, I don't want to go into my whole health history, but prior to going to Vegas, I had hurt my knee, arthritis, and I'd got one of those gel things, shots, injections, and it fixed my knee up. But the next thing, like a few weeks later, my knee's killing me, but not where the joint is. It's on the inside of my leg. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? Go back to the doctor, do an MRI, blah, 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 blah. And I have a bruised bone. A what? That's what I said. A bruised bone. Well, unfortunately, we were already in Las Vegas and I was already in pain. Uh, but there was nothing that was going to stop me from going to Vegas because we'd already planned this trip. Park MGM, they're not sponsoring me again, but I'm just saying they are just wonderful there. So I was in so much pain after the first night there. I called them in the morning and said, do you rent Do you have wheelchairs? Yes, I was in a wheelchair, folks, in Las Vegas the entire time. And of course, you could get the the automatic ones, with the little yee, yee, yee. But if you've seen me drive, you probably wouldn't want me steering one of those in the casino. So I just got the plain wheelchair. And my chauffeur James, I mean my husband Jeff, pushed me throughout the casinos to the Miranda Lambert concert. My son had a little fun on the inclines, which terrified me. But anyway, so I know people probably were looking at me thinking she looks pretty healthy. Why is she in a wheelchair? Because I did feel fine as long as I wasn't walking. Um, and I felt like, I'm sure by some I was being judged. My husband would wheel me to the restroom and I'd get out and I'd hobble. Luckily, I had a cane and walked in. For those of you who are concerned, I'm fine now. I'm doing much better. But anyway, it is funny because you do see a different perspective in people. Um, because I know I have, again, judging. You see people like I saw some people in those little automatic wheelchairs, and I'm pretty sure they didn't need to be in there because you would see couples and they're just laughing, and then you'd see them get out to go eat or whatever, And that's what I mean by judging. But wheelchairs, I did not realize those who are handicapped because you don't think about it until you're in that situation. It's a different outlook. It's a different way of life. My husband was amazing, but he always is, and it's just I don't know how to explain it. I mean, and just to be funny, but of course, I saw more butts than what I wanted to see because you're at butt level. At this point, you're at butt level when you're being pushed. So if people are ahead of you, that's all you see. You saw who had underwear on, who had a thong on, who didn't, who probably shouldn't have worn those tight leggings with a hole in it. But anyway, so it is a different perspective, but yet you realize how fortunate you are when your two legs are working, that you are healthy enough to get up because it was a different thing for me to experience. And there's what I found on Google it was 3 million Americans are in wheelchairs. 3 million. That's a lot. And 10% of those are literally physically disabled. Like they cannot, fortunately, by the grace of God, I was able to get up. I had to get up, walk myself to the restroom, walk myself back to the wheelchair and go. And I did get the wheelchair because this was supposed to be a fun trip, and it was a fun trip for me, especially. I'm not sure about for my husband, but it was a fun trip because I got pushed around, I got chauffeured around, I never had to do anything. And I will tell you that people are still very kind, and I found that out. People would make a special effort to allow us to get into the elevator. People would make a special effort to get the doors for us. People would actually, this lady was just so sweet. She must have seen that I was in a little pain and came up to me at New York, New York. And, my husband would roll me up to the little slot machine. And she came up to me. She goes, "Excuse me, here, you can have this. You can play this." And she had given me her 98-cent ticket. I didn't win money with it, but I was very grateful. And I just looked at her and said, "Well, thank you very much." People were just kind. You could just, I don't care if it was empathy or I don't know, but people I saw in it was just people how generous people can be, how thoughtful, that's the word I should say, thoughtful they were. They'd make sure to move a chair for us and stuff like that. And this was all new for us because neither by the grace of God, again, we have been very healthy and fortunate in our lives that we have not needed a wheelchair. So this is more for everyone to remember to be kind, even to those who are walking. But be kind to those in chairs. Don't get frustrated with them because they're struggling to get through a door. Hold the door for them. Um, to cross the street. Of course, traffic, thank God my husband didn't let me roll down in the middle of the street, but people, the traffic would stop while we were waiting just to see. And it was just such a kind thing to see. And again, I'm sure some people saw me and thought, well, she looks pretty healthy. I'm not sure why she's in that chair, but I was very grateful. And I thank Park MGM for allowing me to rent a wheelchair because it made the trip so much more enjoyable my for my son and his wife and my daughter-in-law, and my husband, because I was like, that first night was not pretty. But uh again, this is just a random thing, and I started thinking another thing is, I know we all mean well and we try to do good, or at least I hope we do. There has been uh throughout the past few years blood shortages. So if you can, go donate blood. We here in Texas, I don't know if that's anywhere else, but it's Carter Blood Care. Go donate. They always have, I'll get an email. uh, my husband and I, when COVID hit in 2020, and no one, they were in need of blood. And I told my husband, let's go give blood. So when I was a stay at home mom and I had some free time, that's what I would go do. It was no, you don't get paid for it. It was my pastime. I knew I was helping someone. And one day, several years ago, like many moons ago, I did get a call the day after I gave blood, and it was the Carter Blood Care to tell me I had saved a life. So just by going to donate some blood, you can actually save a life. I don't think people realize why we do it. And I'm sure you're all asking why am I even mentioning it, is because I got an email today and I thought I need to tell people to go donate blood. It's an easy process. Don't say I don't have time. We can always make time to know that you may or could save a life. The blood is so important to those in need, such as patients of cancer, treatments, chronic illness, traumatic injury, accidents. And a very good thing, there is some pluses about giving blood. Not only do you get a T-shirt sometimes, you may get a certain little gift. They give little things out sometimes, like T-shirts and drink cups and stuff, but that's not why we give blood. The process literally takes about 30 to 45 minutes. It matters how long it takes. You go into this little booth and they ask you all these private, personal questions between you and the attendant there. And they prick your finger to check your iron levels. And you do find out, a good thing is you do find out within a week or a few days what your cholesterol level is, in case you need to go to the doctor or help yourself with something health wise. People I do know are scared of needles. I myself am not. It's I'm just not. My dad was sick for a long time, so we were, and my mom would have to give him dialysis. Now this was back in the 70s. Those dialysis machines in the home were huge. They looked like the size of a washing machine. So my mom used to use butterfly needles. So we were always around needles and medical stuff. Maybe that's just it. I don't know, but I'm not afraid of needles, and I'm sure I could find something else that's more pleasurable than a needle going into my arm or my hip. But don't be scared. It doesn't take that long, and the donations can actually help you. Um, there's studies that show that regular donations can help lower your blood pressure and lower heart attacks. Who would have thought? So there are benefits to giving blood, not only to help someone, but also to help yourself. So don't we want to do that? I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to volunteer. I want to do something, but I don't have time. I don't have the money." Well, you got blood. Trust me. They'll ask you certain questions, and I mean, if you've been sick, of course, please don't go. They will not take your blood, but they will ask you questions, and it's a great thing. So this is kind of a thing. Don't be scared. No, I'm not judging you if you don't give blood, but don't be scared. You could actually save a life. Wouldn't that be amazing to find out you saved a human's life? A baby, a teenager, a man, a woman, a mother, a sister, a brother, a father. just to find out. You won't find out exactly who they are, but just to know that you did help someone is amazing. So, um, since I am talking about all sorts of different kind of health issues, I just want to share with you. I know I've mentioned it. There's a podcast on depression. Um, I, c- I need to emphasize that depression is really bad amongst teenagers. I mentioned that in Teens Yikes Part 2. I just need to emphasize that depression can hit anyone. Last week, because I was still a little down under because of my leg, my knee, I just literally stayed home. I had to tell my husband, why don't you go meet your friends? Go have a few beers. You need to go because he's just the kind of guy who loves me, and I know that, and he likes to he takes care of me as I take care of him. But I got into a funk. I mean, one day I thought, what is wrong with me? And I realized, oh my God, I'm sad. I'm depressed. It was a woe is me kind of day. I would thought because I am not one to sit very long. I I don't mind commercials. If we watch something, we don't need to fast forward or whatever because I am one who has to get up. I just need to get up. I need to move, and I couldn't do that. So I mean, the weather was beautiful. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to do anything. And then I thought, oh my gosh, this is just a minor thing. But luckily, one of my sisters called and she gave me a little pep talk because that's what sisters and families do. Then my other sister called, then my brother called. So again, I'm truly blessed with my family. But they understood and they were sweet. We all prayed, and that made me feel better as usual. But I got into a funk, and you don't realize how something like that can get people sad. I just felt sad. I guess that was it. It wasn't like I wanted to go rock in the dark corner of the room back and forth, but it was just, I just felt sad. And usually I'm not a sad person. But anyway, it was something. So just if you see any signs of depression on someone, please, see if you can help them in any way or suggest they seek help. That is just a really big deal. Apparently, it's something heavy on my heart because I know I've mentioned it several times because I have seen and heard of so many things going on in the world right now. It's a hard place to be, especially for well, anyone. It is a hard place for anyone. I really believe that people suffer from depression and don't realize that's what it is. Because I did not, and I don't know if that was a form of depression. I mean, I'm fine. It was just kind of different for me. But anyway, I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm happy, Henry. Yay! Life is good. And it's just a reminder to always be kind, always be good to people. And when you judge in your head, not out loud. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But anyway, this is I guess, a goofy podcast on a little bit of health because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Don't forget October, go test your boobs out. Make sure they're fine. Make sure you're fine. And until next week, this is Henry, and have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening. Did you see that? I have to think about it. My mind doesn't work like everyone else's. Until later, go find your blessings.